to Workday Playdate, the podcast where we use play and improv to make your 9 to 5 a whole lot more fun and functional. Now, usually we're talking about work relationships, your boss, your team, your clients, maybe even that coworker who always books the conference room and never shows up. And you know who you are. But today, we are flipping the script, because if you've ever had a weird vibe at work after a fight with your partner at home, or you've tried to jump into a Zoom meeting while still fuming over who didn't do the dishes, you know that personal relationships show up at work, whether we like it or not. So in honor of this month's theme, working through uncertainty, we're diving into how to navigate that uncertainty in all the relationships that matter most, including the ones under your own roof. So today's guests are improv pros, relationship champions, and quite frankly, some of the most playful people on the freaking planet. Greg Tavares and Amber Nash, we're talking about how being more playful, yes, even silly, can actually lead to less fighting and more connection in your most important relationships. So if your relationship could use a little less tension and a little more laughter, keep listening. Now, I just want to say, relationships are full of uncertainty. One day you're laughing. The next day you're not speaking because someone ate the last cookie. Okay, the last cookie is always a big deal in this house. Conflict is inevitable, but what if play is the secret weapon to working through it? Let's talk about Greg Tavares and Amber Nash entering the scene, because these amazing guests are going to help us realize this here today. So Greg has been in the improv game since 1985. He created the Theater 99 curriculum and has authored books like Improv for Everyone and Improv for Couples. He's not just an improv teacher, he's a dad, a husband, and a human who knows how to turn chaos into connection. Now, Amber is improv royalty. You may know her as the voice of Pam Poovey on Archer, but she's also a powerhouse performer and educator at Dad's Garage Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. So with a background in psychology and years teaching improv for personal growth and team building, she brings heart and hilarity. Together, they've cracked the code on how improv can turn tension into teamwork. So, my peeps, maybe you're listening on your morning walk after a tiff with your partner. Maybe you're silently wondering how many more serious talks your relationship can take. Or maybe you just want to laugh again together. But if you're feeling disconnected, stuck, or unsure how to actually enjoy your relationship again, we see you. And today we're bringing you a new way to reconnect through play. Not games, not manipulation, genuine, joyful, spontaneous play. Let's get into today's episode. Okay, listen. This episode is going to go really well, everyone. Improve it, peeps. And then it's going to crash in the middle and burn. I'm just kidding. I'm so excited for Amber and Greg to join us here on the Workday Playdate podcast. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us. It's so exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited. First of all, I gave everybody a little background before we jumped in, but I will tell you that Greg and I live in the same city. We have not yet met in IRL, which is going to happen soon. Amber, you're in Atlanta, which we have some mutual improv friends and connections, but I'm so excited that both of you are joining us on this show. I want to just start by setting an intention for our time. So if you had one word, Amber, that you want to either give, receive in this next, few minutes here, what would you say that one word is?
I'm already getting it, and it is joy.
Yes! I freaking love it. Okay, why joy?
Just because you're just so much fun, Erin. You're so much fun. You bring so much fun, excitement to the table. And it's early for me. I'm a theater person. Yeah. So 11 a.m. is early. I don't have children,
Oh my God. Amber, I feel you on a real level. But I let me tell you what I did today, just to give you that. I got back last night from a work trip. I took my son to school, which they started at an ungodly hour. They start at 7:20, which is just horrible. So I took him to school and then I slept in until 9:30. I went back to bed.
Nice.
I went back to bed.
That's good.
Okay. All right. Greg, what's your intention? What's your intention today?
I feel like the word that's coming to me is the word play.
Yes.
Or playful. Because that's really what our work has been about. The idea of playing with your partner, playing with your friends, just play.
I love it. Y'all, I'm so here. Like, you know how happy it makes me to talk to improvisers on this show? Like, we do it, not as often as we should, but just like the yes and vibes are here, like the joy, the play. I'm just so happy to have y'all. So, okay, let's talk about this because you wrote a book. I want to just start jumping right into that because we are talking about playing more, fighting less, the secret to happier relationships. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, I'll just give it to either of you. Why did you write this book? Why did you write it now?
Yeah. Greg, you should take this one because you had the big idea in the beginning.
During pandemic, was going a little crazy. I teach a lot of improv classes here at the theater. I'm at the theater right now. And so I was missing performing, but I also, again, that was out during pandemic.
Yeah.
But what I did was I went on socials and I just broadcast to the world, I will work with anybody in the world for free on Zoom. I was doing 3 classes a week. I was doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2:00. And I work with people from Thailand and Australia and Hungary and Poland and all across the United States. And it was, we were all desperate for connection. And so I started doing that. And it led to me to what do I want to do? At first I was just kind of going, please, someone talk to me. But then I was like, what do I want to do with this online opportunity to connect? And I started doing online classes for couples for free, basically. And it really, going into their home was a totally interesting experience.
Yeah.
It's very intimate. They would be sitting on their real couch, a real boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, partnership, husband, wife. It was just intimate partners on their couch. And I would be right here talking to them going, let's play. And that was the beginning of the work. And that's when some of the exercises that are actually ultimately in the book, I found them there. And then after doing that for a while, I was like, we've got to do something with this. And then I reached out to Amber, and we're old friends, known each other for 20 years plus. And so I just pitched the idea to her, like, would you want to work on this? And she said, that sounds like fun.
I freaking love it. Okay. And Amber, I know you have a background in psychology, right?
Yeah.
So was this like a hell yes, let me do this, let me jump on this? How did that come into play with writing the book with Greg?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I honestly didn't think about my background in psychology right away because I was just like, it's an improv book. It's me and Greg. And then I honestly also didn't think about how much my actual marriage and relationship were going to come into play.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't thinking about it in that way. And then when we started to dive in, I was like, oh yeah, there's so much good relationship stuff, therapy stuff, things that I've learned with my husband. So it came into play way more than I thought it would. And then when I was writing my bio, I was like, oh yeah, I should mention that I have a degree in psychology. Maybe people will find that interesting.
Hey, you know what? Everything connected at some point. You just took a little longer to get there, but I'm so freaking stoked. Like I ordered your book. Okay. I wish I had it by the time of this recording. I'm so excited to use it. I know so many people listening are like so hungry for this material. So I want to ask you this. You guys, you write about playing like a dog, not to win, but to keep playing. So can you tell us about that? And how does that mindset shift things when you're in conflict?
One of the things that we kept running into, and we honestly teaching improv, everybody runs into this, is that when people think of play, particularly Americans, we think of competitiveness and winning. And that how there was a woman that I taught years and years and years ago, and she was an attorney, and she was such a go-getter, man. She had everything together and she couldn't get past winning a scene. And it was like, you can't win this scene, you know? So there's so much competitiveness just in our nature and how we move through the world. And so to get people out of the idea that the only way to play is to win at something. And then Greg put it so well. And it's like, well, once you win, it's done. The game's over. You're done playing, but we want to continue to play. And so that was really we had to kind of get that in people's minds before we could explore it with people.
I love that. Let me tell you something. When I first started improv, that was like, I'm a recovering perfectionist. Okay. And it wasn't about winning, but it was more about control. And I had to freaking learn that the hard way. I mean, I was, voted class clown in high school. So I thought when I jump on stage, I'm going to be this funny girl and I'm going to try to just like drop these one-liners, win the scene. And let me tell you something. I just ruined them always. This is where we're going off course now, Greg. Now things are crashing. But that was like for real. And I feel like that's so, especially for the peeps listening to this show. I know we have a lot of recovering people pleasers, a lot of recovering perfectionists, a lot of people who care deeply, so much so that they lose themselves in caring so much. So I think that's such a cool concept of playing, not to win, but just to freaking play, which is your intention, Greg. Okay, anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, what I say to people a lot is because all of us are teachers. We all teach improv, all three of us. I tell the people I work with, I don't ever have to teach anybody how to compete. I have to teach people how, because they know it. That's how we're hardwired. We have to teach people how to cooperate. Cooperation is not intuitive. Improv isn't intuitive. Yes, and it's not intuitive. Competition, you throw a ball around kids, competition is an intuitive reaction to that play setting, right? But collaboration and cooperation, you have to learn it. It's learned because the payoffs are later, they're not as direct, it's not as linear. And so teaching collaboration, cooperation, connection is what the book's all about. And it's what all of our work, I don't care what we're doing with our people when we work with them. I don't care what setting is. I don't care if you're doing a corporate retreat for a weekend with Volvo, or if you're working with a level 1 improv class, or you're working with a couple. The instinct and impulse to compete is something you have to train people out of, just like you've experienced yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so real. That is so real. And I think about that. Like I have a son that plays soccer. We drop the ball on that field and I'm like the psychopath on the sideline, right? Like screaming after him because that competitive is like innate in us. But when you talk about collaboration, yes, and to some people is like this whole epiphany that has, we know it, we live it, we breathe it. Like that's literally, I feel like right when we started talking, I was like, it's so nice to be around and provide. Like, it's like
it's so fun.
It's so fun. It's so fun. It feels so right, And it's like if the whole world could freaking just take an improv class to understand it, like what a different place this world would be. So I freaking love this. Okay. So you talk about the 5 principles of play. And I'm just making sure I got them right. Enthusiasm, positivity, support, spontaneity, participation. Is that right? Number 1. And then what do couples tend to struggle the most with out of those and why?
It depends on the couple for sure. I want to pin it back to play like a dog for a sec though.
Okay.
Is that like, it is just like anything that we're learning. We can scold ourselves for becoming goal oriented for a second. We can you were just scolding yourself for being a perfectionist. It's about like, the thing is focusing on the fun and the joy of it, being in the moment and playing like a dog, which is basically like the principles of play kind of break that into little components that you can train. But really it's just about having to focus on the fun. You have to focus on the fun because then that will incentivize people to be in the moment and it will incentivize people to cooperate. So the key is like, you really have to focus on joy and fun. And then the principles of play help you learn how you have fun. How do I have fun? Well, I have fun when my partner is engaged and participating. I have fun when they're supportive. I'm when they're enthusiastic. All those different things. And I think every couple, it's like DNA. I don't think there is not a one thing that every couple ends up being challenged by.
Yeah, I was just actually teaching a workshop this past weekend at Dad's Garage with our book, and so I had 10 couples, 20 people, and I'd been with them for like an hour and a half at this point, and we got to word at a time stories, which can be very challenging. And these were all people, I mean, at least half the people had never even experienced an improv workshop before. So it was brand new to them. And we were getting into word at a time story, and there was a handful of couples that were really struggling. And it was like they were getting mad, right? Because they were like, why is this so hard? And why? One of the couples had only been together for 9 months. And they were like, why is this guy not doing what I want him to do in this word at a time story? And it was that competitiveness, but also I feel like sometimes, and it's a bad habit that couples fall into, which is like correcting each other and letting each other know that they're doing it wrong so that they can be right. And I was like, stopped everybody. And I was like, okay, well, think about it this way. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like you're just telling a dumb story about a snail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is getting it right more important than having fun? Because you have a choice to make. And is it, I'm going to have fun with my partner and we're going to leave in a good mood? Or am I going to be right and piss them off? And then we're going to have a terrible time at the rest of this workshop. And it's like, just who cares? Let it go. Enjoy yourself. You don't have to be right. Yeah.
Okay, Amber, so many thoughts from you, Greg. Okay. So let me make sure we tell the peeps too what word at a time story is. So they're basically coming up with, and this was a partner activity. They're doing it as a partner. Yeah. So they have to come up with a story that's never been told before, one word at a time. So like Amber would say I would say snail, and then you would say another word, and we would build this story. And so I love that because, okay, I'm thinking automatically about my own relationship. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I want to control that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I want to do that.
Sometimes it's just faster to get stuff done. Just be like, I'm in control here.
Yes. And it's that activity in itself, just putting it into like a couple's mindset is so mind blowing. And I also love what y'all both are saying. Like you could either choose to have fun or you could choose to pick it apart. And Susan Messing, one of my greatest teachers in Chicago, she has this saying on stage, if you're not having fun, you're the asshole.
You're the asshole.
You're the asshole. And it's like, that just was like blaring in my brain while y'all were both talking, because it's like, there is nothing that anybody else wants in this world but other to be happy. So why do we try to ruin it? Why do we try to throw it off course? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that is dope. Okay. So after you do these workshops, after you do these activities with people in person, I'm so curious, what do people like? How do people leave? Like, how do the couples, they do the exercises? Are they leaving more joyful? What do you see when they walk away?
Well, with this one, this was the first one I taught, was this weekend. And we went around at the end, and I just we started with like, why are you here? Like, who signed up?
Yeah.
Why are you guys here? Tell us a little bit about yourself. And then we ended with like, I'd like to know, like, did you think about anything differently today? Did you have a breakthrough of some kind? And luckily, after the word at a time story, the couples that were struggling, there was 2 in particular that were really having a hard time, had a breakthrough. And they were like, thank God. After I said that, like, you have a choice to make. Are you going to have fun or are you going to be in control? And at the end, everybody was like so happy that they had seen their partner in a different way, that they had laughed with their partner, that it wasn't always about like getting through life and paying bills and raising their kids. And it was so joyful and everybody had such a great time. And one couple, I loved this so much. There was a couple and one of the people was a little bit quieter than the other one, but they really came out of their shell during the workshop. And she said, what I loved most about this experience was seeing my partner do something new that he was scared of doing and being there to support him. So like, it wasn't just for them in particular. She was like watching him be vulnerable and supporting him doing it and enjoying that they were both doing something they'd never done before that was hard for them. And they were supporting each other through it. So it was just like so many lovely things came out of it.
I'm so here for that. Okay.
Yeah.
And like, you can feel that when you're talking about it. Like you can feel that joy that you're even sharing through your version of the story, right? Like, okay, Greg, what about you? What have you seen?
Well, I mean, what the task of the book is to encourage the couple that's working through the book together to get to what we call their forever game. Okay, so there's like it's a story that needs to keep writing itself. Play is ultimately intrinsic; it brings us joy, and so the goal is to like get them into a little bit of a habit of playing together, so that they can have a game. And not an improv game. You know, maybe it's my parents, we have the story in the book. My parents' forever game was backgammon, and they played it their whole lives. And we're looking to try to stimulate that for couples. And I've had a chance to debrief with a lot of the couples that I've worked with over time. A lot of the times I've only done one workshop with a couple and that's it, but I know a lot of these people. And so I've been able to follow up with them, and it has nurtured the idea of being playful in their lives. I've done these in person quite a bit. I would book them after shows. People would contact the theater and they'd be like, I want to do a couples workshop. And I would be like, okay, I'm available at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And sometimes I would be having a beer at the bar and a couple would walk in at 10:04 and I would have forgotten they were coming. Okay.
Stop it.
And I'd be a beer and a half in. I'd be like, and I would just go like, oh yeah, get on stage. Yep, we'll be there in a second. And people should know that this book is not about creating comedy scenes. It's not about training people to become improv comics. It's way more playful than that. It's way more kindergarten than it is like AP English. Okay. And so I would walk into the theater and sit down at 10:07 and play with them until 11:15. And one time this couple came in and they were just about to move in with each other. And he was the one who was interested in improv and she was just being supportive, but he had very severe social anxiety. And so he couldn't participate in group improv classes because of his anxiety, which I have a lot of compassion for because I have anxiety disorder. And he was getting something he deeply needed in this 2-on-1 with his girlfriend. Maybe they're married now. I don't even know. And that hour and 15 was really like I felt like an honor to be present with them and work with them for an hour and get them to play. And he was able to be comfortable and do things that he's not capable of doing yet. Maybe later in life he'll be able to overcome some of those fears. But it was really a humbling moment to see that these silly little games can create that level of connection.
God, I freaking love it. I mean, I do really, truly believe like the very first time I walked back in, I took improv, then I kind of stopped for a minute and was traveling. This is in my early 20s. And I remember walking through the door when I got back to Second City when I was like 26 years old. And I walked through the door and I just remember like, I felt like I took my bra off. Amber, Greg, maybe,
oh yeah,
and it was like, oh my God, I am home. Like, these are my people. Like, this is where I belong. And then it's that I just knew like improv as a teaching tool is like the most experiential way to feel something. And the fact that you help somebody with a disorder that has probably helped him, he will always remember that 1 hour on that stage with you in many different scenarios of his life is so cool. Like, truly, we need more of us. Okay. We are the improv evangelists here, because it's like, it is truly such a game-changing tool because it really allows people to connect. And I can see it. I've really never thought about it like in a couple's relationship. And this is really, which is crazy because, this is what I teach all day long. But I think this is just such a cool context. And I want to talk too just about the different types of people, because Amber, you've taught teens. Let's talk to you, and then I want to hear from Greg, but you've taught teams, corporate teams, everyone in between. What is different or maybe the same when it comes to romantic partnerships and play? Is there anything that you see there?
Yeah, it's so weird because one of the other things that happened in this workshop that I just taught is that we were doing a game that's in the book that is a game that Greg and I made up, that we were like, this is actually really great. And in the book, we call it Catfish Daddy and Sexy Pirate. And it's because we were together, which was very rare because we were writing mostly over Zoom. Yeah. And we were together and we were like, okay, let's try this game. And we'd take our phone out and we would take a picture that the other person couldn't see. So like a selfie of us, like making a really weird face, and then show it to the other person, and they would have to name the image. So I gave the image that Greg gave me, Catfish Daddy, and he gave my image, Sexy Pirate.
Stop it. Yes.
And I had the couples play this game, and I stopped everybody. They'd gone back and forth a few times, and they were all working at the same time individually with their partner. And I stopped and I was like, what's hard about this? Is anybody having any struggles with it? And two couples at the same time said, not being mean to your partner. And I was like, what? why? And there's so many, and I see it a lot, particularly with younger couples. Like a lot of times, like, like even when you're first learning, like when you're first getting a crush on somebody in elementary school, like the way that you show them that you have a crush on them is by teasing them.
Yes.
And we have a whole section in the book about teasing because we were like, we have to bring this up because there's two sides to it. There's not being mean and causing harm. And again, like, you stop yourself and ask, like, is this going to make my relationship better or worse?
Yeah.
But then there's also not taking yourself so seriously that you can't allow for a little bit of that. So that it's not one or the other, And so it's like just being down to play and being like, like when dogs play, like sometimes one dog gets a little too nippy and somebody gets hurt and they have to let them know, hey, that was a little too hard.
Yes.
And so there's so much of that that's like, because we have to continue to live with this person. We have to continue to love this person. And so finding those boundaries and those boundaries being allowed to be fluid and knowing that. And, so it's like, because I also improvise with my husband at Dad's and have for years. That's how we met. So like, there's another story in the book where Kevin hadn't had a haircut in a long time. And I decided that the best place to bring that up would be during a show. And it was a bad mistake. And I learned my lesson. And I was like, you know what? I was being an asshole. In that moment. So it's such a joy to do it to be in their relationship. And Greg had this when he was doing one-on-ones, but in a group, like we got to know each other very quickly. It got intimate very quickly with this group of people because we were sharing like really like stuff that only your partner sees because it's the two of you being stupid at home and we're asking you to talk about it. So it got really intimate really quickly, which I'd never experienced with a group of people that didn't know each other or with a corporate group. So it was really I felt so honored to be able to be in people's relationships like that.
God, yes. I freaking love it. Like, and you could see that, right? And I'm sure Greg too, like you were saying in the pandemic, like you were literally like looking in their homes, which is one of the cool things I think that happened in the pandemic. Is like, hey, I see you in a button-up suit all the time behind a glass desk. And now I see like your soccer trophy and, you're in your socks and boxers, Okay, peeps. Let's pause for a quick sec. I know we are deep in this convo, but I have to tell you about something that could literally change the way you handle uncertainty at work. So that feeling when everything is up in the air and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Yeah. What if instead of spiraling, you could actually thrive in the unknown? That's exactly what we're teaching in our Working Through Uncertainty workshop. This isn't some boring lecture. It's high energy, it's interactive, and it's fun. Our expert improv facilitators will help you learn to adapt, pivot, and make confident decisions even when nothing is going as planned. So join us in person with up to 100 people for 2 hours or virtually with up to 50 people for 90 minutes and walk away with real practical tools to navigate uncertainty like a pro. Go to www.learntoimproveit.com to book your spot. That's learntoimproveit.com to book your spot. Now back to the show. Greg, what do you see as the difference from all the different, demographics that you teach? What's different about couples?
Well, I would say this. I mean, we say, like there is in a corporate workshop, there is a deliverable, like you want to heighten their ability to connect or communicate. You want them to be able to innovate. You want them to be able to collaborate. You want them to learn with conflict resolution. Leaders want to be able to see their people more. Why? Because you want them to be a more effective team, to ultimately for the company to make more money and for people to get rewarded more. That's not the goal with a couple.
Yeah.
The goal is only joy. It is only joy. It's kind of like it's kind of like everything comes home to roost. Like we're doing improv for audience. We have to be non-goal oriented to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like but it's like the ultimate improv is the couple, because it is a forever game. The goal is to be together for the rest of your life, which is not the goal at work and not the goal on stage. The goal on stage is to have a good show. The goal at work is to have a great company. The goal with your wife or husband is to be together until the end. And so the improv rules are actually the most true. when you're working with a couple. And I would say, and when I use improv with my children, I've got 2 boys, and like, it's the same thing. You want that relationship to be as good till the end. It really makes all the things we say as mantras and platitudes in improv, it makes them acidly true with a couple. So that's been my payoff, is like this. It's absolutely fundamentally true because they want to be married forever, or just living in the same house forever and happy.
Yes. Okay. Love it. We always say we measure the ROO, the return on your objective. And like their objective is stay together forever. That's the goal.
And be happy.
Okay. Wait, this is just like pure curiosity. Have either of you ever done like a workshop with your close friends and led that? And like, what was that like?
I married my friends. I was the officiant at their wedding. And a lot of when I was betaing this idea, I put a call out to my personal connections, and I worked with very, very close friends. I've got the videos. I got the receipts. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's some trust. They trust you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it was adorable. I mean, like you see why people are together. One of the things that ultimately got edited out of the book, because we couldn't quite communicate it the right way, but I still hold true, is that improv is a magnifying glass for how we are. Okay. And improv is a magnifying glass for our relationship. So if a relationship has problems, improv is going to amplify the problems. I was working with people that were deeply in love, and like watching them together was always like, God, you guys are cute as bugs and rugs, man. What sweethearts you are. You guys should stay together. You belong together, I didn't have an experience where I worked with a couple that one couple was drunk, and that was a little weird.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a little weird. I'm like, maybe that couple. I don't know. I can't remember who they were, but they were blotto.
Oh my God. Okay, wait, Amber, have you worked with friends on this?
No, I haven't. And I don't know what it would be like. It'd be because all the other thing too is because I've been in improv for so long, everybody I know is an improviser.
Yeah,
all my friends are improvisers. So I don't even know what that would be like. But no, I haven't.
Okay. Well, okay. So I freaking love this. Like I have so many things to ask you, and I feel like I could talk to you both for an hour and a half, but I want to give a tangible takeaway for our peeps here. Is there an activity that you could teach us from the book to help someone? Let's say my husband and I just had a conflict, hypothetical story. Okay. And let's say that we just had a conflict. Is there a game or an activity that you would say could help me today?
The first thing we say in the book is you can't force people to play. Okay. So it's kind of like sex. You have to be in the mood.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't use these games to conflict resolve.
Oh,
frankly.
Okay. Good to know.
Like you don't want to like drag someone into the play, like the principles of play. None of them say, be cranky,
Yeah. That's
don't play when you're pissed. You know what I mean?
No, that's such a good point. Okay. So if there's something, if let's say we're having a good day and how can somebody take the book and do this on their own? What would be a good way to initiate like sex? What would be a good way to initiate play? What would be a good way to say, hey, I just read this awesome book. I've got something I want to try, because they could do these on their own, right? Like they ultimately could work with you both and do a workshop. But if they wanted to take something from the book and apply it, how could they bring that conversation up?
I think just buying the book, what a great plug. When we, because when we open when the book starts, we say like, we want you to read this together as a couple. And so I think if somebody was like, okay, I got this thing and I would love to play this with you. What do you think about doing this together? And I will say, just like when any one of us first walked into our first level 1 class, like we start from the very beginning. So like really, you don't need to know anything about improv. You just need to be a human that's moved through the world, and you'll understand all the concepts that are in this book. So we start really slow, and we start with finding your game, and we start with like little exercises so people start to get the idea and the foundation of what we do in improv. So honestly, is what's right after finding your game, Greg. Do you remember? I don't have a copy of the book with me.
The Wrong Name game is the first actual improv game they play,
Right. You want to explain that?
Yeah, let's do Wrong Name game. What's Wrong Name game?
Oh, the Wrong Name game would be great. I want to tack in real quick to what Amber was saying this book is really unique. I mean, like we're all three of us are long-term improvisers, and we probably all read almost every improv book out there. Those books are typically trying to teach you what you do when you get to do improv. This book's not designed that way. This book requires no facilitator, no teacher, just the couple can do it at home with a glass of wine in their hand. That's a very different deliverable in terms of what we're trying to give people. They don't need us.
Yeah.
This is not a lead generator. This is to give them everything they need to have fun at home.
Yes.
Let me think of the game I think we should play here.
Okay. And while you do that, I'll say that I tell people, and I told people in the workshop I taught this weekend, there's so many games in this book that are like, you guys are going to play this when you're stuck in traffic on a road trip. Like there's so many great games that it's just like, let's pass some time and have some fun. And there's so many things that you could do at home. You could do it when you're in the car. You can do it with your kids outside in your backyard. Like there's so many fun little games that are just like anytime that you're bored or want to have fun, you could do.
I'm loving this. We're gonna put all the links to your book in the show notes and where they can find you too. But okay, Greg, what game? What are we doing?
I think the game we should play that would be fun would be list 4 things.
Oh.
So you'll start, Erin.
Okay.
So so it's kind of the basic. Just list 4 breakfast cereals.
Oh,
okay.
Cereals. Okay.
And we'll count them off. 1, 2, 3 as you do it.
Okay. Ready? Lucky Charms.
1.
Apple Cinnamon Cheerios.
2.
Rice Krispie Treats.
3.
Wheaties.
4.
Okay, the fun factor there is pretty low. Okay, but let's add a little fun factor to it. Okay. Now you have to list for different breakfast cereals, but you got to do it in a way. And let's say your way is like you've got to do it like you are I don't know, like you're a really gregarious cocktail waitress.
Oh, okay. But is she like, when you say gregarious, she's just like over the top kind of a thing?
Yeah, you got it. The hair was there. You got it. So just list them off.
Are you ready? Here we go. And she's from California. Okay. New breakfast cereals. Here we go.
Yeah.
Fruity Pebbles.
1.
Okay. Rice Krispie Treat cereal.
2.
Fruit Loops.
3.
Strawberry banana Cheerios.
4. Wow, so many different types of Cheerios. I love it.
These are the cereals my son eats. Okay.
So that's 4 things. That's a fun game.
That's so fun. It's so fun. Okay, well, that was that, and now my neck hurts. And that is so fun. Okay, and so then you would have the other person in the couple do that, or did they both go back and forth? And then how does that? So we take that, and then what does that teach us?
It's really, I mean, laughter is what the joy is. Like really the key, we talk about it a lot in the book, is we really keep talking about, like, the goal of this book is for you to do that and laugh when they do it.
Yes.
Okay. So it's less skills based and more joy based.
I love it.
And so seeing your wife that is a CEO of a big company that's always stressed out and driving the kids to soccer to play a character and name a bunch of cereals, like, we just don't get to see each other in that light very often, to just like, okay, don't be embarrassed. You're going to screw around and play this dumb character, and I'm going to laugh at you. And I will realize how many breakfast cereals you know that I didn't even realize existed.
There's a lot of types of Cheerios.
My husband loves Cheerios.
I mean, for real. Like, if you go on there's so many Cheerios. Okay. Well, go ahead, Greg.
I want to say something here because you made me think of it, because we had a whole part of the writing process where we thought about going, this game will teach you blank.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we ultimately decided not to do that. And here's why. We create a concept in the book called the check-in and the check-out. All right. And the check-in is that right before you do the exercise, before you do anything in the book, you check in with your partner and you say, hey, you want to play? Is it time to play? Kind of like how you would do with sex. Are you in the mood?
Yeah.
You check in. And it's totally appropriate to say, I don't want to play right now. I got some emails to send or whatever. And then after you play the game, you have a checkout. And this was something that Amber was like, she gifted this to the book. It was a beautiful moment. The checkout is when you check back out after the experience and you talk about it and what it did for you. If you maybe want to share, Amber, like how we got to that really fun part. It's a big part of the book now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just about the checkout. Because I always do that when I teach, because I'm like, I want you to tell me what you learned. I don't want to tell you what I taught you again. So like, what did you get from this? And how does that apply to your life? And how did you look at stuff differently? And I think that because, you know, if a game teaches listening, that's a big idea. And it's like listening, blah, blah. What are we actually talking about? But then when you hear a couple say it in their own words about like, this is how I heard you where I wouldn't before, or because we were laughing, it made it easier for me to connect with you, and those kinds of things. So it's so much easier to get it from them and in their words. So I think the checkout is like, then you leave that experience having had fun, but also being like, oh yeah, this is what it did for us, you know?
Y'all, this is so good because, you know, my corporate brain is like, what's the debrief? What's the takeaway? Where's that? And I love that this is like pure what our intention was for the show, like the top of the show, joy and play. And like couples just need that, because you're right. We think about taxes and we think about home ownership, and we think about like all of these things that are adulting, you know, and they consume us. But like in those 5 minutes, I'm going to take those endorphins and it's going to be like I just got on a treadmill. Thank you very much for that. And, you know, I feel like couples who are struggling, like play is the answer. Yeah. Play is the answer. Y'all are dope. Okay. I can talk to you forever because I want to. But let me ask you this. I got 2 last questions. Number 1, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned about relationships from your life in improv? It doesn't have to be from the book, but just from improv.
That's so good. Do you have anything, Greg? You want me to go?
I mean, I've got something. You go.
Go.
It's good.
No, you go. You go.
I really like me and my wife. My wife is my playmate. We been together for 25 years, 26 years this May. And we are still in our honeymoon phase, 25 years. You know? Like we laugh all the time. We're silly together like kids, but I'm 56. Okay. And so like, I can't tell you how important being playful is in my marriage. And if I couldn't play with my wife, I do not know where my joy would come from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that and improvisation is how I learned how to play. Okay. It's how I learned how to play, how I learned how to be present, how I learned how to connect, how I learned how to say yes to my partner. And that's how it all happened. So it's a renewable resource. And improv made me feel comfortable in myself enough and taught me the skills to connect, which I just use every day without even thinking about it anymore.
I'm going to quote you on that. Play is a reusable resource.
Yes.
I love that. That is awesome.
So good.
So good.
It's so good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I also am a recovering perfectionist, Erin, and I have OCD. I found out during the pandemic.
I feel seen.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I was actually saying this in the workshop that I did over the weekend, that like, who cares? That's what I've learned. Like, who cares? I don't need to be right. I don't need to win this. One of the things that happened when I first started dating Kevin, because he was an improviser, we were both we were professional improvisers when we met, is that I would he'd come over to my apartment and everything's perfect. And it's like, my old roommate used to call it robot eyes, where I'd just be like, something's out of place and I'd have to go fix it. So everything was in this world of everything is in the right place. And then this man would come over and it was chaos and there was shit everywhere. And I was like, what is he doing? He's messing up. and then it was like, but who cares? I'm having so much more fun with him. I'm happier with him. I'm laughing with him. So he became like a retreat for me, where I could just go to this place and it was a vacation and I didn't have to have robot eyes and be crazy and everything have to be perfect and be constantly achieving and getting everything right. And so it just to let it go. Who cares? I don't need to be right and I don't need to win this. And I just can have fun with you and we can laugh, and we are so stupid all the time. And we have so much fun. We're just in fantasy world all the time, talking to each other. And it's just it's pure joy. It's pure joy.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel you, everything, the robot eyes, I was like, okay, Remember, we are the same. We are one. We are one. Okay. Well, let me just say this. It has been such a joy to talk to both of you. And we always ask this question. And this is going to be like sometimes I ask people this and they have to really think. Y'all are going to be like, here we go. How are you going to make, because the name of the show is Workday Playdate. How are you going to make today more playful?
Oh, I know how I am. Yeah. I know.
Go for it.
What you doing, Greg?
Well, I'm going to see my youngest son in his first ever musical this evening.
That's today?
What musical?
I think it's the musical called Trapped in a Musical. He's in 5th grade at a Montessori school. And he did his first show last night, but I was on the road. I was teaching a workshop last night. Thank gosh I did 2 shows. So Sarah went to the show last night. And my son has crazy stage fright. And it's a giant achievement in his life. And so I'm going to be, but also I have this thing that I do when I see very young children perform. I basically can barely handle it because it's garbage. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, it's the worst thing. It's horrible. I mean, it's just.
I thought you were going to be like, I sit there and cry. What do you do? What do you do?
Like, Sarah was on the phone with me last night, and she's like, "Greg, you have to not rock as much and whistle." I'm going, I lose my mind because I can barely watch shit my own theater.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you know how it goes. I'm standing in the back going, I'm going to leave any second. You know, the moment. So watching my kid perform in a 5th grade musical, it's going to be so horrible. But I'm so proud of him, and I love him so much. So I'm going to have to be playful as hell to get through that shit.
I love the honesty, Greg, because we all know exactly what you're talking about. And we don't feel like we can talk about hating watching kids perform.
Oh, it's so bad. I mean, it's horrible. And I love it.
Love this so hard. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Amber, my cheeks hurt. What are you going to do?
Okay, mine's going to be way simpler. It's a beautiful day today in Atlanta because it's kind of chilly.
Yeah.
Like it's a chilly spring day, which is really lovely. And when I walk my dog around our neighborhood, then we have I live in a place called Cabbagetown, which is this cute little historic neighborhood. And I am very present when I walk my dog. I'm not on my phone. I'm not listening to stuff. I'm talking to her. And oftentimes if we go after dark, I really love looking at people's windows.
Yes.
To see what's up in their house, what's going on in there. So I will have a playful walk with my dog and talk to her about this beautiful day that we're having and what's going on in our neighborhood.
You are awesome. Oh my God. I love that. You know what? I feel sometimes because, I'm in my house at like 7:00 when it gets dark. I'm like, I bet people are looking in, and they are. They
100%
are. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. This is good to know. I freaking adore both of you. This has like brought me so much joy, and the play today was like real and so good. And I'm so glad to know you both, and I'm so glad the peeps know you. Where can they buy the book? Where can they find you? All the things.
On Amazon, that's where the book is for sale. They can also find it at both the theaters that we work at. Yep. We have physical copies. You can come to Dad's Garage and you can buy it. You can come to Theater 99 in Charleston and buy it. But we're selling on Amazon and it's doing wonderfully, and we're super proud and getting great reviews and all that stuff.
Greg, do you remember our email address off the top of your head? Is it improvforcouples@gmail.com?
It is improv4couples@gmail.com.
Okay. So we're checking that regularly, as you can tell.
I need to check that today. Okay.
Yeah. So you can email us if you want to, talk to us, see if we're checking our email. You can email us there. And
give us
also,
a week.
Yeah. And we're also on Facebook. Improv for Couples is on Facebook. And we're on that much more often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to put all the links. We'll put improv4couples@gmail.com in the show notes. And just so everybody knows, Dad's Garage is in Atlanta, Georgia, and Theater 99 is in Charleston, South Carolina. 2 amazing theaters, and I'm so, so happy to know you both. I'm so excited you came on this show. Thank you for the joy. Thank you for the play. And we will see y'all later. Improve it, peeps. Thanks for choosing. Thanks for choosing. Thanks for choosing and tuning in. That was the word, choosing and tuning. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all are the best. Thank you.
Yay. Thanks, Erin.
Bye.
Bye. Workday Playdate peeps. Oh my gosh. I could talk to them for hours. Honestly, they lifted me up today. I was kind of tired when I hit play on this episode, and Feels so good to play and have fun and be joyful. So here's your Playdate homework. This week, try one of these things with your partner or someone close to you. Number 1, play like a dog. So the next time you feel tension creeping in, shift into one of the 5 play principles: enthusiasm, positivity, support, spontaneity, or participation. Pick one and practice it and play like a dog. Just play for the sake of play. And number 2, laugh together on purpose. Watch a funny show, do an improv game, get their book and pick one. Let go of the need to be right and choosing to be with. Bonus points if you send me a DM on Instagram at It's Erin Deal on how it goes, and you might just be featured on an upcoming episode. So if you want more of Greg and Amber, check out Improv for Couples, and that link is in our show notes. You can get it wherever books are sold, and follow them, email them for more insights and improv-inspired connection. So until next time, play more, fight less, and don't forget a little yes and can turn your relationship from meh to magic. Every workday, my peeps, is a playdate waiting to happen. I'm so excited you chose to be here today. Enjoy it, make play a part of your day, and I'll see you next time.